What is up, football fans? I am the Gridiron Guy, and week 1 in the books. Football is finally back. It was an exciting week of football. I'm extremely happy. We had blowouts. We had tight games. We had fourth quarter comebacks. We had it all. But I'm going to review my top 5 matchups from week 1 for you right now, starting with Vikings-Packers. Vikings-Packers, rivalry game. Rivalry going back years. Division rivals. Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins had 19 completions for 25 attempts. 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. 76 completion percentage. Thoughts on that? That's a good game. Overall, that's a good game. You'd like to not have that pick there, but that's a good game. Aaron Rodgers, even better game. Aaron Rodgers had 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, 72.7 completion percentage. Wasn't as good as Cousins, but he threw for 100 more yards and 2 more touchdowns and 1 less interception. So, with that being said, Aaron Rodgers balled out. I also want to make a quick note that Davante Adams had 14 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's nothing to sneeze at either. The Vikings went on to score first, and then that was it. The rest of the game was pretty much controlled by the Packers. The Packers got a field goal. It seemed like it was going to be a regular game, and it was going to go back and forth, until the Vikings stopped the Packers on a 1-yard line on a 4th down play. Turned it over, and the Packers got a safety out of it. So they end up getting the safety, and then they take that ball and they punch it down and scored another touchdown. And from there, the Packers were just rolling. The Packers scored the most points of any team in week 1, which that's pretty scary for the Vikings defense. The Vikings defense was supposed to be pretty good, even losing a few players. Now, I understand no Danielle Hunter, no more Everson Griffin. You know, they've lost some pieces on that defense, but that is scary for them. So, are the Vikings missing Diggs yet? Diggs had a pretty good game. It wasn't amazing, but he had a pretty good game for the Bills. But are the Vikings missing Diggs? Being able to not hang with the Packers. You know, the Packers dropping 43 points on the Vikings. And the Vikings couldn't hang. Defense gave up a lot of points. The offense was kind of how it normally is. Overall, I didn't think the score would get this high because both these defenses are pretty good. Both of them can get after the quarterback. Both of them have superstars on defense. I didn't think the score would get this high. But I had the Packers winning 23. I had them winning 27-23. The final score, the actual score, was 43-23. to 34. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points for a week 1 game. Moving on to my next matchup. Saints versus Bucs. The New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees taking on Tom Brady. The battle of Father Time. Two 40-year-old quarterbacks who are pushing each other up the ladder of records. They're just Drew Brees continues to break records every single year at this point. Multiple records a year. Tom Brady as well. He's breaking records every year at this point. The longer they hang around, the more records they're going to break. It's just and honestly, whichever one plays longer will end up with most of the records because they're both pretty close on a lot of them. Saints won this game on all 3 levels. That's my opinion. The Saints came out, offense, defense, and special teams, and just showed up. Tight coverage, got after Brady. They sacked him a few times. They were in his face. Not to mention, Tom Brady did not look so well. He didn't look like he was on the same page. It was scary for that offense. You know, everybody's talking about, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they could go all the way to the Super Bowl. They're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl with that offense. Look at all the weapons they have. They can't be touched. Yeah, until they build chemistry, it's going to be rough, to be honest with you, because that's a lot of new pieces. Every running back, 2 of the 3 running backs are brand new. The quarterback is brand new to the receivers. You know, the quarterback's new in general to everyone. I just don't see how they're going to gel immediately. I think it will take them a couple games. The Saints had an electric game, okay? The Saints blocked a field goal, had 2 picks, and Brees was his normal Brees self. Just dink and dunk, throw it deep when you have to. He's just his normal self. And Janoris Jenkins had a pick 6 on one Tom Brady. So, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet? That'll remain to be seen. But for right now, I don't think they're going to light up the scoreboard anytime soon, unless they have a hell of a week in practice and they show up big this week. I had the Saints winning this game 31-28. The actual score was 34-23. That wasn't too far off. Moving on to the next matchup. Titans, Broncos. This was an interesting game. I actually thought this game was going to be a little more competitive in the opposite direction. I thought this game was going to be a little bit more of a shootout. Not by much, but I did think there'd be more scoring in this game. I found out right before the game that the Broncos had both of their starting tackles out. Cortland Sutton was out. Von Miller, found out this week, is not coming back. He's going on injury reserve. So they had a lot of injuries going into this game, which was a concern for a young team, young quarterback, young offense in general, and a suspect offensive line to begin with, not having 2 of its starters. So Ryan Tannehill had 29 completions on 43 attempts, 67.4% completion rate, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's a good game. It's a pretty good game. Drew Lock had 22 completions, 33 attempts, 66% completion rate, 216 yards, and 1 touchdown. No picks. So, all in all, quarterbacks played well-ish. They played pretty good. Like I said, for the Broncos, lots of injuries. I think it took a toll on them. There were times where they had a hard time running the ball or even pass protecting with an offensive line that was already not the greatest to begin with. And then you minus 2 starters. It's going to be rough with a young quarterback who's only got 5 starts under his belt. Now, granted, he's 4-1 in those 5 starts. He's 4-2 now, 6 starts. But the defense played well, only gave up 16 points, which leads me to my other point. The Titans are even lucky they won this game. 3 missed field goals and an extra point. What are you doing? And then Mike Vrabel says, I still believe in my kicker. Why? Because he made the last one? The last one that mattered? Okay. Yeah. I don't believe in your kicker. It should have never even gotten to that point. That guy missed 10 points worth of points during the game. You should have won 26-14. Instead, you win 14. You win 16-14 on a last-second field goal that he actually did make. So, all in all, it was an ugly game, which came down to a kicker who had missed 4 field goals during the game to make a field goal to win it. If that was my team, I'd be scared. And I would be pushing for them to get a new kicker by today. I still believe in my kicker. Okay. Moving on. This game was quite exciting, actually. Cardinals 49ers. Now, I have to admit, I did not think this game was going to go this way. Kyler Murray, Jimmy G facing off for the 3rd time in their career. Kyler Murray had 26 completions on 40 attempts, 65% completion rate, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had a really good game. He moved the ball with his legs when he needed to, scrambling, breaking the pocket. He got lots of first downs by using his legs. So really, these are his passing stats. They're not his rushing stats. Ultimately, he had a pretty good game. Jimmy G, 19 completions, 33 attempts, 57% completion rate, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, we already know that Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan, they're happy not passing the ball for 300 yards or 30 attempts or anything like that. So for him to have 30 attempts is actually, that's a lot. Talking about a guy who had less than 15 attempts in a playoff game last year. So they are perfectly happy not passing the ball just as much as they are passing it, I suppose. But what I'm saying is the 49ers love to run the ball. They have lots of backs, and they want to use them. Their defense played well. They even got a pick. They picked off Kyler Murray. He's a young quarterback, so, it's still bound to happen. 49ers ran the ball well. 49ers were terrible on third down. I think they completed like 2 third downs the entire game. That's not good. That's not good at all. Back and forth game. There's not many big plays in this game, but it was strategically, football-wise, it was a good game. Both teams moved the ball, but like I said, there was no big plays. I mean, there was a big play at the end of the game. DeAndre Hopkins to go-ahead touchdown. But speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, 14 catches. Beast. I didn't think he'd get that kind of volume in this offense. Yes, there are a lot of, they pass the ball a lot in that offense, in that Kingsbury offense. But I did not expect one guy to get 14 of those balls. Didn't expect it at all. Ultimately, Murray would not let his team lose. He, comeback fashion, he would not. His will to win was strong. He didn't want to lose, especially to the 49ers. He didn't want to lose. I actually had the 49ers winning this game 28-27. I did think it was going to be close. It ended up being close. But the Cardinals win 24-20. It was a good game. It was a great game to watch. So, nod to the Cards. They upset the 49ers because I didn't expect them to win this game. I thought that defense was too much. And it ended up being a lot, but not enough. That 49ers defense. Moving on to the game that everybody wanted to see. Texans Chiefs. Until it got here, then people wanted to shut their eyes because they were watching the Chiefs run up and down the field on the Texans. Deshaun Watson against Pat Mahomes. Deshaun Watson had 20 completions, 32 attempts, 62% completion rate, 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The 1 pick is big because it turned the tide in the game. The game was pretty close at that point, and the interception helped the Chiefs just turn the whole game around. They actually took it and did something with it and began to bury the Texans. The Texans struggled a lot in this game, actually. This game, I really feel like, I was talking about DeAndre Hopkins. I think I know a team that misses DeAndre Hopkins. I think it's the Texans. The Texans were lacking and missing a number 1 true target. Their entire wide receiving core, although all the players, all their receivers are pretty good, none of them is a clear number 1. None of them. They're all really solid number 2s. And a group of 2s does not make a number 1. So ultimately the Texans struggled mightily to make big plays and especially keep up with a team like the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't even really push the ball down the field all that much. They just ran it down their throat. They ran it down their throat for 134 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie, the first-round pick, ran it down their throat. Now, he's a smaller back, so he did struggle on some of the short downs, like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. He struggled. He got stonewalled pretty good. So I don't see him being able to make I don't see him being a full-time running back in the future. I see him being more of a scat back, and, he's not going to be in there on short yardage downage. So let's move on to Pat Mahomes' numbers. Definitely not big Pat Mahomes numbers. 24 completions, 32 attempts, 75% completion rate, 211 yards. That's not Pat Mahomes. 3 touchdowns, that is Pat Mahomes. He dude knows how to find the end zone. But they scored 34 points. That's a lot of points to throw at a team, and especially a team that was struggling to move the ball down the field. The Texans were doomed pretty much by the second quarter. They were just getting buried. And they couldn't keep up. And the Chiefs just ran the crap out of the ball. Just ran it. So by the time the Texans were getting it back, the Chiefs were ending their drives with touchdowns, and the Texans' defense would be on the field so long that they were just getting worn out. And then the Texans offense would go out there, get stoned on their drive, give it right back to the Chiefs. Their defense had to go back out there, struggle some more. It wasn't a pretty sight for the Texans. I'm actually really worried for the Texans. But the DeAndre Hopkins David Johnson trade does not seem like it is as lopsided as it seemed when the trade was made. When I first saw the trade, I was like, this is nuts. This is a nuts trade. Okay? There's no way the value equals up in this. Even with the draft picks in there, I didn't think it equaled up. But David Johnson played pretty well in this game. He ran the ball pretty well. I had the Chiefs winning 31-27. The actual score was 34-20. So, all in all, I went 4-1 in my matchups this week. So, those damn cards got me. I really thought that they would lose this game. My thoughts on week 1, it was weird. There wasn't a lot of tackling. Preseason definitely affected week 1. There was a lot of defenses giving up tons of yards where they shouldn't have. The Vikings defense, just several defenses in general. The Cleveland defense got torched this week. It was just a rough week for defenses. And even some quarterbacks who aren't exactly on the same page as some of their receivers and backs and linemen. So all in all, it felt much like a third week preseason game, really, except for everything counted. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week on the Gridiron Guy. Look for my video on my matchups for week 2. Some exciting matchups for week 2. I'm looking forward to breaking those down for you and see how I do next week on my predictions. So far, I'm 4-1, doing pretty damn good. I'll see you next time, and this is the Gridiron Guy.